Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike WIlbon. Tony, we had the privilege of watching the Super Bowl at the White House. What was your favorite part?
I'm Tony Kornheiser, probably my halftime nap in the master bedroom.
Is that where you snuck off to?
That was really good, but you know what surprised me?
What?
The thread count on the sheets was surprisingly thin. I mean, I was looking for a little bit more luxury than that.
That's where you went?
Yeah.
You disappeared for 15 minutes?
Yeah. Well, you know...
And the president was saying, what happened to your boy?
The Black Eyed Peas and I, you know, we agreed to disagree on that one, and I took a slight nap. But I stayed up for the rest of the game. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Ben Roethlisberger loses, Big Ben doesn't win, and the Steelers quarterback cannot get the job done. You sensing a trend here, Mike?
No.
And so we begin today with the last 2 minutes of the Super Bowl. Pittsburgh needed a touchdown to win, and you, Michael WIlbon, have said repeatedly that you will take Ben Roethlisberger over Manning and Brady and everyone. One game for your life.
Yeah.
Well, Ben Roethlisberger got the ball in his hand, down 6 with 2 minutes to go, and it fizzled. Were you surprised?
Yes, I was surprised. I thought that in that position, that Ben Roethlisberger was going to take them down the field. They'd score a touchdown and win the game. I thought it was perfectly set up for that. And you might think I would walk away from this now and say, oh, no, I wouldn't want Ben. If the season started next season started tomorrow, I'm still taking him. He's still got 2 Super Bowls, won a 3rd Super Bowl in, and he didn't play well, Tony. He's not going to run away from that. He said it. I thought he would win them the game.
I don't think it hurt his reputation as a big game player in any way. Two interceptions is not good, but he had 2 touchdown passes as well. What I would quibble with is the offensive series that led to them being out.
Yeah.
I mean, they had time. I know they only had 1 timeout, but they had some time. You might run the ball once. You might try a swing pass over the middle.
Some shorter passes. You don't have to go down the field. You got to move the chains.
So that your last 2 passes on 3rd and 10 and 4th and 10 become desperate
passes.
They should have
been 3rd and 3.
Yeah.
They should have been something else. I mean, I looked at there's no balance of run to pass. They put this all on Roethlisberger. I just didn't like any of the game plan for the Steelers at all.
I mean, I can understand trying to bite off a big chunk because Charles Woodson isn't there. And you say to yourself, this is our chance to get 20 or 25 or something like that.
But you know what else? They got other players. And what happens when you see offense fail and we don't give enough credit is the defense succeeds. And the Packers defense has succeeded in almost every situation this season, particularly when they had to.
Prior to getting the ball, when the Packers had the ball, there was some talk. People said, don't take the field goal. Try and get the touchdown.
That's
put it
wrong.
on a reach.
I disagree with
I think
that.
that's nuts. Make them go late to the field and have to get 6. I think you definitely take the 3.
And then if you're the Packers, you have trusted your defense, even with Mixon hurting on the sideline, trying to cheer them on.
Because you still have Matthews in the game.
That's right.
Rodgers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about the winners, Tony. Once again, the Packers lost frontline players to injury during the game, yet played through those losses brilliantly. Nick Collins, Greg Jennings, Clay Matthews, among others, got it done. Meanwhile, the Steelers played rather lethargically early and from behind almost the entire game. So, Tone, was this result more about what the Packers did or what the Steelers did not do?
Okay, what the Packers did and what the Steelers did not do, they're the same things because both teams are playing each other. I can't make that judgment, but I will make this judgment. The most critical, the most pivotal play in the game.
Let me guess, we haven't talked about this. The fumble.
Yeah, Mendenhall's fumble. Now, Clay Matthews causes it. That's a great play. Mendenhall has, in years back, fumble history, but that changes everything because if they keep the ball, all the momentum from the end of the first half is with the Steelers.
That's right.
If they score on that drive, they actually go ahead, 21-17, I believe. The Packers turn it around as they do with all the turnovers, get 7 out of it, totally changes
but you know
the game.
what? The Packers didn't play a perfect game, and they were able to overcome some of their own mistakes, like the drop passes. And once again, Tony, it's interesting to me that when you play the Steelers and the Ravens and the Bears, you got more drop passes. Why? Because people are laying you out, and they're going to be drop passes. And I know Jordy Nelson doesn't drop that many passes normally, but I'm going to say this is what Green Bay did to win the game. They've had to win every game now about 6 in a row, and they've done that. So you can't just look at other people's mistakes without concluding the Packers force those mistakes.
This is exactly what Mike Tomlin says. And you can talk about us all you want. I'm not going to give you any excuses. Green Bay played a great game.
Yes, they did.
Of all the statistics that were thrown out in that game, the one that I just found stupefying in the history of the Super Bowl. Nobody has ever come back from being down 10 or more, more than 10 and won.
It shows you got to keep contact. And it looked like the Steelers weren't going to be able to do that.
Yes,
it looked that way.
If not for that fumble. Aaron Rodgers continued his torrid play in the playoffs. He threw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. No interceptions. He was named MVP of the game. How big is Aaron Rodgers' star going forward now?
Well, Tony, you know, I felt certain on Friday, with all due respect to Tom Brady and to Peyton Manning, that Ben Roethlisberger and Aaron Rodgers, in that order, I felt on Friday, in that order, they were the two biggest stars at the most important position in sports. And now I got to flip-flop that. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is king of the hill right now, and Ben is 28 years old, soon to be 29. He has a chance to get back there, and others will vie with him. But right now, Aaron Rodgers on top of the world. And by the way, Brett Favre, who?
Well,
Brett, who?
Okay, now I'm glad you mentioned that, because they're the same age when they won their Super Bowl.
That's right.
They're 27 years old. But it's easy to look at Brett Favre in the last 3 or 4 years.
He was
playing
great,
Hamlet and all of that.
But
when he was 27, from 27 to 32 or 33.
37. He was great a long time.
You don't get to be number one in all these numbers without being a great, great player. If Aaron Rodgers has that career, he's going to be one of the all-time greats.
He may not have that career, but he could win a second one. Let's say his run is half as long as Brett Favre's run, but he wins a second or a second and third. It's just going to be interesting, Tony.
He's an elite guy right now.
Yes, he is.
I think Manning and Brady and Breeze and maybe Phillip Rivers are elite, and now I think Rodgers is elite. And by elite, I mean when the ball is in his hands, your team has a chance to win.
That's right.
But I think on a lot of levels, and I was part of it, too much is being made about replacing Favre. Ted Thompson may have done it a year too soon, maybe not, but he made the right move. Of course, Ted Thompson has put together a terrific young team that may win a lot from years to come. But what we see every year is they don't. People don't repeat.
It's hard to repeat.
So hard to repeat.
Other teams out there right now are plotting ways to overthrow the Packers, and somebody's likely to succeed.
Exactly.
Now, I hope somebody in their own division, but that's
you hope Chicago.
Seems the NFL has quietly settled the Super Bowl seating controversy. The 400 people who showed up at Jerry World Sunday, only to find they had no seats, might be happy now that the NFL is providing them with tickets for next year's Super Bowl in Indy and accommodations. Tony, these fans were relocated to standing room spots in front of television sets before agitating for more compensation for their troubles. You think they have anything to complain about now?
I understand their feelings. They have a ticket in their hand. They don't have a seat. You find out later that the NFL sort of thought maybe the seats wouldn't be ready on time.
And knew that midweek.
And we're going to have to, do something about it. So I understand all the anger, but this is what they got. This, to me, is you get bumped from a plane and they give you 4 first-class tickets to Paris. They have tickets to next year's game, which if their team isn't in it, they can sell for $5,000. Everything they got free food, they got free beverages comp, they walked on the field after the game, which nobody gets to do. They got paid at least 3 times face value for the tickets they had, and they got a great story to tell. So now
I don't feel sorry for them in the least.
Not now.
Yes, I would have been upset had I gotten there and found something was up with my seat. But if I get all this in exchange for a seat, look, I was in that stadium, Jerry World, last Tuesday.
They were inside, they weren't outside.
Tony, they're so far away from the field that you have no shot to see the field. It's like when you're at Wrigley Field and you see those seats across the street at the apartment buildings, at the houses, the 3 flats. That's what this is like. You couldn't see anything from those seats, and now they're going to get better seats. And why are you spending that much money for those seats anyway?
They're getting comped for next year.
So I want to hear it. Got a good deal.
Let's take a break, but coming up, the focus now shifts to next season. That's right. WIlbon and I are about to go into labor.
You want to say it that way?
Yeah.
And did Tom Brady deserve the regular season MVP by a unanimous vote?
Pardon the interruption.